Hey, what up? It's Mikey Mic 628, and you're about to enter the world of the Young Outlawz. Stay tuned for Thug Life. We in this bitch.
Outlawz. Yeah,
Let's get it.
Like, gotta get this money, don't get blinded by the spotlight.
He's cracking, you know who this fucking be? It's that Knightowl sick fuck.
They call me Young Zins, that ruthless motherfucker on death row.
My name's Young Duck.
Ghetto Child, aka Little Pot, Young Outlawz.
We them Young Outlaws.
It's the motherfucking Young Outlawz, baby.
Young Outlawz representing this motherfucker. Shout out to the motherfuckers Zins and Sykes up in that motherfucking sky. You know how we do it.
Lies in the lane, so fuck what you think. I'm always getting mine, so I stay on the grind.
I come from Boyle Heights City.
Boyle Heights, that's the east side of Los Angeles, California.
I come from East Los Boyle Heights, right there off of Indiana, La Franco.
I came from La Puente, basically, Bridgetown.
Yeah, so the east side, that's mainly where I'm from. I lived in all these other cities, you know what I mean, bounced around as a kid, so.
I would bounce around a lot from different cities.
I spent some time out in Monte when I was growing up, too.
I've always lived a little bit of everywhere. I grew up a little bit all throughout the SUV.
Started off probably in, we'll say like in Bellflower area. And then we moved out, we were there for maybe a couple years, and then got kicked out of there, and we ended up in Bell Gardens. And then from there we went to Lost, and then out here to the SUV.
I lived in Arcadia, Monrovia, Laverne, San Dimas, Covina, you know, pretty much all around the SUV.
The SUV gave me a lot of game. Shout out to the Vato from Monte, right there on that Lansdale Street. We moved to, I would say, La Puente area. That's a pretty good little guy to be kicking it around too right there.
I was always in La Puente. That's where home was. You know, Grandma lived on the block, Northam Street in Sandalwood, right there in front of Taco Del Rio. You already know what it is. But yeah, that's where I grew up from. That's where I came from.
But we came back. There's no stopping us. All gas, no brakes. You already know that shit.
Don't try to play me for a dum-dum. I'ma get it now, and I ain't waiting on another mess scheme. I'ma do it for my young ones, and that's my motivation, cause they know they even count on me.
Big homie would take me to the block, which was Trier, and that's where I met Ghetto Child and Knightowl.
It started off with three motherfuckers. We're all brothers.
Outlawz originally started, it was me and my brothers. We created the Outlawz ourselves.
Ghetto Child and Knightowl, they're my brothers.
Me and Ghetto Child were like a year apart, and then we had another little brother, he's probably like 3-4 years younger than us. But that fool got murdered back in 2005.
Brothers Sykes and Zins, they passed away though back in 05. They got killed.
That fool got murdered back in 2005, along with my little brother Zins. So
Ghetto Child and Knightowl, they're my brothers, but I didn't meet them later on in life till I was probably about I'll say 6-7 years old.
How we actually got together was, shit, I used to love listening to all kinds of music, you know what I mean? And Ghetto Child, that fool got the knack of, you know, he started rapping.
I remember when I was a young kid, I used to see Sykes, Noches, Child, spitting freestyles. I'll be young as fuck. They had me throwing up the Outlawz.
This fool started getting swift with the tongue and shit. And, you know what I mean? And then calling homeboy Little Park, that fool used to get down real gritty, you know? Young Sykes, rest in peace. That fool started rapping too.
We kept that shit since we were real young. We've been doing that shit since the early 90s. I ended up moving back to La Puente for a little minute with my hyena, with my wife. Where she stood at her grandma's pad, I turned that shit into the block. I had her little cousins, they had the other little homies You know what I mean? Like Young Duck and all them, they were their homies before me. And so they came around, whatever, and then we was rapping. We've been rapping. And then I seen Duck was rapping, so I told that fool was cracking, get on board.
You know, I was part of a little clique with the homies. A little small clique, the most hated clique, low-key. It was AM, Acting Marihuanos. We all stick together, we all still there. Most of us, you know, some of us fell off. But it was the homie, the big homie would take me to the block, which was Trier. And that's where I met Ghetto Child and Knightowl. You know, they were the older gente right there, you know, the big homies. And that's where we went to drink and smoke and, you know, just chill, kick back. It was the block. After he told me, let's do it, I've been riding ever since.
I'ma grind all day, long as I get paid, I'ma ride my way. I'ma ride my way, I'ma ride my way.
The Young Outlawz, we about to do shit. We about to fuck shit up in the game.
Some more videos, some more content for music. You know, maybe some more interviews, podcasts.
Do some shit amazing, something where I could leave a little piece of me behind.
Put out a lot more content out there, so you'll be seeing a lot of us. You know what I mean? Not too long ago, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. So I'm hooked up right now to my motherfucking nutrition, but in the future, I'm here to say that I'm gonna beat this motherfucker. I'm gonna be that 1% or that 5% that, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna stand strong. So if y'all out there, you know what I mean, just keep your prayers up. That'll be cool. But just know in your mind that I'm gonna get through this motherfucker, because life threw a lot of shit at me throughout my life, and this shit ain't gonna stop me. Outlaw.
But we just going through a little downslope, you know, because of what's going on with my brother Knightowl. Knightow's a big part of the group. And him having the stage 4 cancer in the stomach and all that shit, that shit came out of nowhere. I mean, he's only 35 years old, you know what I mean? Me and him are 1 year apart, so we're dealing with that, but that fool's a fighter. He told me, let's just keep that shit moving. And Mikey Mic with the same shit, that fool's always grinding, so we getting it in like this.
I got my shit too, Savage Ruthless. We about to do all that on my solo shit. So check us out, subscribe to the channels, follow us on Instagram, you know the deal, you know the get down, do all that.
Outlaw.
I was stuck a little bit on, everybody knows what's up with that. Shout out Fools Gone Wild on that one.
Shout out to the Vatos from Monte, right there on that Lansdale Street.
Indiana La Franco, you know the deal. Shout out the hood right there. Shout out everybody up in the Rillo. Shout out Victor.
Hey, so since my audience want me to shout motherfuckers out, shout out all my gente. This is my family, you know what I mean? Shout out my wife, shout out my brothers, Knightowl, Miklo, Syke, Zins, you know what I mean? My brothers Busted. I don't know how to mention names because I don't want to get nothing. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody. Shout out Mikey Mic. Shout out to homie Nini Boy. Shout out motherfucking my cousin Philip. You know what I mean? Shout out Lansdale. Shout out High Life. Shout out Monte. Shout out Puente. Shout out Boy Heights. It's a big East Side thing. You know what I mean? Shout out everybody around. Shout out Los. Shout out all Southern California. You know what I mean? Shout out my people. It is what it is. Young Outlawz. Ghetto Child, Knightowl, Young Duck, Lil Zins, we up in the game, we're here. Shout out my people, one love, one thug to everybody. Shout out Northside Outlaw, shout out my motherfucking people who really got my back, you know what I mean? And then you people over there hating on that shit, you keep hating, dog, because all that does is fuel the fire, you know what I mean? So we here, Young Outlawz.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hustle hard, gotta motivate the young and got it from the mother, made something out of nothing. I'm a